So, Mike, it's awesome having you with me here today. You are an overcomer. You're going to share your success story today, and we really appreciate you taking time out to be vulnerable and actually share with others what it was like and how life is now. Tell us a little bit about what led you to developing the symptoms of pelvic floor dysfunction, or kind of the backstory that got you to, even
Yeah,
finding this program and getting better through it.
I injured myself training for a triathlon, and initially I couldn't get a conclusive diagnosis. Some doctors said it was hernia, some said um, something else, some kind of like sprain But anyway, I worked around with it for 5 years, waiting for it to get like slowly worse, 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 and it was basically like feeling pressure in the groin on the left side. Uh, and eventually I said, okay, this let's go through all the doctors again. I went to see a bunch of surgeons. Again, I got inconclusive diagnosis, but I decided to do the surgery anyway, because something had to be done.
What was the
So I did
surgery for?
hernia surgery.
Okay.
So hernia has like 3 stages. There's like stage 0, small hole, nothing protruding. Stage 1, that's stage 1, I'm sorry. Stage 1, small hole, nothing protruding. Stage 2, big hole, the guts start coming out. Stage 3, they're coming out so much they twist. Mine was like stage 0. So
Hmm.
it's sports hernia, it's a partial tear. Nothing's coming out, but like you exercise, you get inflammation. You rest for a week, it goes away. You exercise, you get inflammation, you rest for a week, it goes away. So I decided to do the surgery and fix the problem anyway. I did the surgery. It initially helped partially, but not completely. And
Hmm.
then over the next 5 years, it was like again getting slowly worse and worse and worse and worse. And then like I cut out some activities. I stopped running. I stopped riding a bike, except like with my small child. Um, I and then last couple of years, I started taking ibuprofen.
Hmm.
So I would initially like take ibuprofen to go windsurfing, and then I started taking ibuprofen to go snowboarding, and then I started taking ibuprofen to go swimming, and then eventually I caught myself sneaking out for ibuprofen before sex, and I said, I got to do something. This is, and traditional medicine was not able to help me.
Yeah.
So I tried another program which really helped my wife, called Walking Well, but
Hmm.
that was basically focused on like realigning your body for the proper walking movement.
Right.
Um, I tried it previous summer. It didn't do much for me because it wasn't targeting like my problem area, which now I
Hmm.
understand is like my hips.
Okay.
And then last summer I said, okay, let's try this thing. I found your video on YouTube, and from there just got the program and started stretching.
So how
So
did you
now,
found that video? I'm curious because you're like the problem area that you had identified the hips, and then the hernia was something you dealt with. It's not necessarily like considered a hernia stretch routine, or how
uh,
did you know that that was something that could have
I was
helped you?
talking, yeah, I was talking to my brother, and he mentioned, he's like, have you heard of chronic, uh, what is it called?
Chronic pelvic pain syndrome,
Chronic
yeah.
pelvic, yeah, CPPS. He mentioned it. He said, have you heard of CPPS?
Interesting.
Like maybe you have
Not many
CPPS.
people have heard of it. I tell people
Yeah,
every time someone asks me like what I do and I tell them, only like 2 out of 100 people even know what it is.
yeah. And it's like, look, when you have pain like around your genital area, you don't want to share that with too
Right.
many people.
That's right.
Uh, you may
Yeah.
you may not want to share it with your partner,
Yeah.
or at least not like complain too often.
Hmm.
You may want to even admit it to yourself that like it hurts down there. So he mentioned it, the CPPS, and I said like, okay, let's read up on it. And I started reading. Uh, my go-to is often YouTube. Anything that I need to figure out, I found your video on YouTube, and I did that for that first stretch that you put up on YouTube. I did it for 2 weeks,
Okay.
um, every day, once a day for 2 weeks, and I was like, wow, this is actually helping
Hmm.
way more than like the surgery I did or anything else I tried before. So I got a full program, and I did it for 3 months. And then after that, what I do is I still stretch every day. So like maybe 4 times a day, I cycle through month 1, week 2, 3, and 4. Those are my favorite.
Hmm.
And then like a couple of times a week, I'll throw in like some other hip yoga stretch from YouTube.
Okay.
So um, finished snowboarding season.
Yeah.
So that's like every Saturday, every Sunday, I'm a coach on the team.
Wow.
My son snowboards, and like every morning, 40 minutes, stretch, push-ups, like a little bit additional exercises. But most importantly, I do like these targeted stretches that you've created. So like I haven't taken ibuprofen in about half a year. I am
Yeah.
in less pain, and I'm able to do like more athletically.
So you were able to
Uh,
snowboard and feel good about it
yeah,
this
yeah,
season.
yeah, yeah.
That's amazing.
And it's not that I don't have any discomfort, right? It's just like if my discomfort level before was like 6 out of 10, now it's like 2 out of 10.
Okay.
But I'm also doing more stuff athletically, right? And no ibuprofen, just every morning do like a stretch.
For sure. Those are all good practices that you've started to include now. One thing I'm curious about is before the hernia, and if you go back to when all that started, what was going on in your life? I mean, were there any relationship situations or job stress, like a
Yeah, yeah,
breakup,
yeah,
a
yeah,
divorce? Like,
yeah,
what was
yeah.
happening?
There was a divorce.
Okay.
Um, the few years that led to the divorce were worse than a divorce. It was
Wow.
a contested divorce in New York State, year and a half going to court. Uh, I mean, I was crazy stressed when I hurt
Yeah.
myself,
Yeah.
but like also I tend to do this thing where when I go through stressful periods of life, I overcompensate with overexercising.
Yeah.
So like me being like all stressed and like tensed, and then like trying to release that stress through like definitely overexercising. That week that I hurt myself, I went from running 5 miles to running 12 miles
Hmm.
like this. And I also went from like biking maybe 50 miles a week to like 200 miles a week.
Oh, wow.
And like something in my body snapped, and
Do you think there was somewhat of an escape for you there from the emotions? So some people will like escape from the emotions by drinking or drugs or watching TV or eating. For you, maybe it was like exercising because it just
absolutely.
kind of
Yeah,
got you away
yeah,
from having
yeah,
to feel the
yeah,
pain.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah. It's just dealing with anger and
Right.
frustration.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm curious about when you're in the Overcome program. It sounds like you're a very committed person. You're very disciplined. What changes did you see? Because I mean, you did the stretching routine for 2 weeks. You're like, wow, this is already making me feel better. What about the other aspects of it? Did you see other changes from maybe meditations or nutrition or other tools? What else did you gain from that?
I've been eating extremely healthy for the past 10 years. So as far as nutrition, I didn't see like even when I did the exercise that Bree does with with like write down everything you eat for the week. I
Hmm.
reviewed that and I was fine. There's
Hmm.
nothing that I eat that's
You're
inflammatory.
you're you're looking at, yeah, it wasn't
Yeah,
something that was inflammatory
I
for you.
don't, yeah, I don't drink alcohol. I don't drink soda. I don't eat
Hmm.
bread. I try to stay away from anything processed. So like as it is, I was already following the full program. As far as meditation goes, I think um, maybe I could have done more. But like
Mm.
by the time I got to um, by the time I got to this program, I was not living a stressful life.
Okay.
When I originally hurt myself, I was living a
Yeah.
very stressful life. And back then, like, yes, I used to like meditate every day for 40 minutes and it helped tremendously, but I was not living a stressful life a year ago when I discovered the program. So like I either it didn't help me much
Mhm.
or maybe maybe I could have done more, paid more attention to the meditation. I've done all the videos, of
Yeah.
course,
No, it's
but
fine. Yeah. If you
yeah,
just didn't need that at the
but I'm
moment,
not. Yeah,
everyone needs something different at a different time, right? It's good for us to have all the tools in the program laid out for everyone, but it's an individualized type of approach sometimes, and that's okay.
yeah,
It sounds like you've just gotten better at designing your life so that there's not too much stress, designing your life and making the hard choices, whether it was like separating from your ex-wife or I don't know what else you've done in your life, but those changes can lead to life not being as difficult to deal with in a way, right?
yeah, yeah.
Well, I'm curious, kind of just to wrap it up here, what is the biggest piece of advice that you'd have for someone who is suffering with CPPS or something like it, whether it be like a hernia or just something like this in their pelvic floor or genital region? And what, from everything you've learned, what would you tell them?
Try everything, right? So my advice is try different things.
Hmm.
Don't just stick with like traditional medicine, for example, and what
Yeah.
the doctor will tell you. That helps in many cases, but also try stretching, try eating healthier, try maybe addressing the stress in your life. That could be hard, right? You may be in a situation where it's not possible. It may take you years to get out of a stressful situation.
Hmm.
But yeah, keep looking for a solution. Like there's something out there that'll work for you. Like for me, it was this particular program, but it wasn't the first program that I tried, for
Hmm.
example.
You were relentless to wanting to heal ultimately, like to
Yeah,
actually get your body and your life back, and that commitment. Even if one thing doesn't work all the way, we always point out people gain little nuggets from everything. It's like, even if like, oh, that program didn't heal me, well, you most likely learned something from it, or you learned something that didn't work, or you learned more about your body, you learned more about your mind. Um, one step leads you in the right direction,
yeah, yeah.
for sure. Well, thank you, Mike, for sharing your story, sharing all the possibilities, all the positivity, and I appreciate your time, and everyone else does too.
Awesome. Thank you.
Take care.
Good to see you.